And you are?
I'm Jake Myers. I directed Kombucha.
Is anybody else coming up and joining him?
No, it's just
okay. All right.
Yeah.
I got you all.
I'm here from Chicago. Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Welcome. So, talk about why kombucha.
Why specifically the title, or
why everything?
Why everything?
Tell me why is the kombucha the device for the story? How did this all come to be?
So this was a pitch from Jeff Backen. He pitched me 3 different feature-length scripts, and Kombucha was the one that I felt like had the most teeth with now. I felt like it was something that felt relevant. So many people are working these day jobs and they want to be doing their creative pursuits, but we are so torn between the things that make us happy and the things that make us money, right? Let's do that.
There you go.
So yeah. We're torn between the things that make us happy, the things that make us money, and Kombucha, I think, was the script that spoke to that. As far as the actual drink, I drink kombucha, Jeff doesn't. You finished it.
I finished it. I'm not having any gurglies or nothing.
No gurglies. And the thing that I think works for it is kombucha is something that ferments. It's something that changes the composition. It's something that will take something and turn it to something new. And I feel like when we work a job, to some extent, we are changed. We are transformed. We are in some way giving part of ourselves and becoming something different on the other end. And that's why I think kombucha works as a metaphor.
Excellent. Let's give it up for that. That was a great answer. I gotta say, just watching this film, it's like, a lot of us are artists like I am. I'm also a filmmaker like you are, and it's like I understand like we all have to do that day job, and then it's like a lot of people won't take that seriously and won't give you. They'll say like, oh yeah, you could do that on the side, and sometimes that it takes a backseat to what you really want to be doing, and I appreciate that you went with that. Okay, that was more of a statement than a question, I know.
No, that's great, yeah.
Talk about just the production and stuff, like you have a little bit of vampirism, and you also have a bit of invasion of the body snatchers kind of going on in here. Yeah, so talk about how did that all kind of manifest into this particular film?
Well, yeah, I think it's a film that's about the cult-like qualities of working at a startup where you are love-bombed when you first start, and you are convinced you're part of a family, but you're also disposable, and if you don't adhere to these specific ways of living, then you are out, and if you are even marginally not profitable, then you will be part of a mass layoff, and that is always looming over your head, but you're also family. Right? And I think that's part of it. And also I think I think Tammy in some ways is the most correct. I love having a kook end up being the most correct person in the whole movie, because their whole purpose is to extract the most out of your life. Like, how many hours out of your day do you spend working, and how many hours out of your day do you spend doing what you want to do? And if that's not like the definition of vampirism, I don't know what is.
Yeah. Amen to that one. Thank you so much. Yeah. So talk about, was this entirely all like Chicago? Where'd you shoot this?
Yeah, this is 100% Chicago. Shout out to Second City. I thought that the Second City actors from Chicago were fabulous. I thought they're great. Woo! I feel like comedic actors are great at doing this thing where they find anxiety. And anxiety can result in one of two things. It can either make you laugh or it can make you squirm. And I feel like that's what works best in a horror comedy. Yeah.
Right on. Again, it comes back to the writing. You have some really great writing in here, and it shows that you actually put lots of layers in terms of just the pacing, making sure you had the kook, who's basically our insight person who kind of dissects this, like, what is the worst possible scenario. Talk about, like, what was the writing process like for you?
So Jeff came to me with a really high concept horror sci-fi script, and I loved it, and I read through it, and I thought, there's no universe where this is going to get financed. So what we did was we worked together and we made a 7-minute short film. And the short film was going to be a horror comedy that was super accessible, that would get the point, the bare bones point of, you can be, a cog in a corporation and be manipulated for some kind of, control. And then we toured with it, and then we were able to use that as a proof of concept to get the feature financed. And then one thing that we realized while touring with the short was that certain things worked, certain things didn't. People are comfortable with the gross, people are a little bit comfortable with like the absurd. We're allowed to lean on that. And I honestly, after making the feature, I thought, you know what? I'm really sorry, everyone, but we're gonna do a sequel, and it's gonna be weirder and more gross and more intense.
Woo!
And because I think you like it, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree. Speaking of gross, I mean, let's talk about that creature effects. I mean, you do have a pretty awesome creature in here.
The creature was a struggle, man. So we had a practical creature. The practical creature did not work on set. It was a thing that I arrived on set, I saw it. We had done multiple check-ins to see if the artists had pulled their weight. They didn't. So we got on set, and I made sure that I kept a happy face on set, and we got what we needed out of the scene, and we got a good plate shot. And then on the way home, I drove home, and I wept the entire way home. I just wept. I was crying the whole way, thinking, oh, my whole movie is fucked. And then I called a friend of mine who my background is in post. My background is in VFX and post-production. So I called one of my friends from Third Beacon, Kyle in Chicago, and I said, hey man, we got a problem. This movie needs fixing. Our big bad isn't quite working. We did an entire visual effects CGI replacement of the big bad. And I worked on the assembly line with Kyle and his team. And I am so thankful because I feel like that big bad saved the movie. And there are people that have asked, they're like, oh, that big bad monster was practical, it looked great. And I'm like, wait, you thought that's amazing. I love that it came across as practical because that was entirely computer generated. It was Blender and After Effects.
Yeah, props to Blender and After Effects and stuff. I honestly thought there was people in like little tentacles or roaming with their.
Oh, there was. It just looked bad.
Oh, okay. You just kind of overlaid it to there.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So the performer still had something to respond to, but what appeared on screen was very different than the plate shot.
Wow, that's amazing. Props that you were able to had the bravery to finish that off and just work with the footage you had and stuff and just get that Blender effect.
Oh, don't tell anybody. Anybody who's here, you're not allowed to say.
It was all practical.
Industry secret.
We're supposed to be saying everything's practical nowadays, right? That's the thing that everybody wants to hear, right?
Sure.
Okay. Anyway, let's open it up for questions from the audience here. This is such a great crowd, and thank you guys all for being here.
Yeah, you guys are great. This was awesome. Thank you for being here.
No questions. Oh my God. Okay, we got one here. Go ahead.
So this whole startup vibe is very real. Who do you talk to, or did you experience it yourself? Did the writer experience it themselves? Is this like a whole crew of people like, this is what it's like, put it on the screen?
Let me circle back to you on that. I have worked for a startup, fortunately or unfortunately, and this is the jargon, right? Like you've experienced this before, and that jargon is just something that I think is going to sit with people after they watch this movie. I feel like the experience of watching this movie is somewhat enjoyable, like it's fun, it's silly, it's weird. But the thing that I think gives this movie some kind of power is you're gonna go and write an email and you're gonna start typing, let me circle back, and you're like, fuck. I think it's going to sit with you. You're going to think about I'm spending all of these hours thinking about circle back rates, and I'm going to think about KPIs, and I could have created so much value, which is the most tragic line in an entire, what a tragic motivation for a character to only want to create more value for a corporation.
And who works on a Saturday?
What kind of asshole works on a Saturday?
Right on. Thank you. Any other questions? Go ahead, back there.
Okay, my original question was going to be about the VFX, but you covered that, so I want to hear more about the sequel.
Hear more about the what?
The
About the sequel. Let's talk about the sequel.
Yeah.
Now. Let's talk about the what next.
So initially I was supposed to do a slasher next summer. It was slated, we started to have money in the bank, but then my producer said, I changed my mind. I want to fund a Kombucha sequel. And we did, Jeff and I had an idea in the bank, but I guess that's what we're doing next summer. And the sequel, being sick is terrifying. And I think a lot of people don't trust, like, big pharma. They don't trust Western medicine. They feel betrayed by it. So I think a lot of people turn to wellness and sort of like woo sort of healthcare and alternative treatments. And I think that there can also be like a lot of people who are predatory on that side of things. And I think that's where the sequel is going to go. And people are like, wait, so you're going to expand the world of kombucha? No. We're going to narrow it even further, and we are going to focus on another aspect of people feeling vulnerable, people feeling not sure of where to turn, and then another person using kombucha as a way to extract from them.
Let's give it a pause. We like all these answers. So what else we have? Okay.
We were just down at Simple Pleasures. I saw you sitting out there chatting with a friend. My gal and I were drinking kombucha, and if I had only known, this is great. Kudos to all three filmmakers and crew, man. What incredible stuff. Where do you go with the kind of the storyline, this genre? It's really interesting time, in the world, and this storyline is really quite interesting. How do you come about it? Where do you go? Like when you decide to make a film, you go there.
I think I want to have some kind of takeaway for every audience member. I want to have some kind of thing that they can think about that in some way takes this familiar aspect of your life and then it makes it feel strange. And I think horror is a wonderful genre to explore those kinds of stories. And they can serve as simultaneously like entertainment. My goal is to make something entertainment. I want you entertaining. I want you to enjoy your experience watching the movie. But then I do want some kind of secondary takeaway. I want you to think about some kind of aspect of your life or in some way, reflect on, what am I spending all of the hours of my day doing? And I really do think that horror is a great avenue for doing both, for serving an allegory and also making something that people just enjoy watching. I don't know if that answers your question, I'm sorry.
I have a question about music here. So you chose two very specific songs. You had Midnight Special and House of the Rising Sun.
Yeah.
So talk about why you chose those particular songs.
Yeah, there's two big reasons for those songs. So Midnight Special is a song about emancipation. It's a song about people like extracting your work from you and also like you being under the thumb of like an oppressive legal system. And then House of the Rising Sun is about a place that traps you, that makes you feel like you can't escape, that is seductive and draws you in. So the second reason why I chose those songs is that they are public domain and it didn't cost anything to use those songs.
I had no idea. Now we know.
It was a
we can use them.
low-budget movie if you didn't realize.
But those are great songs, though. Those are classic.
Yeah, right? And they're recognizable songs, and they're songs that I really like.
Beautiful. Any last final questions from the crowd? Because I have one more if you guys don't have one. Okay, what's next for this movie? I mean, it seems like it's on a tour. Is it gonna be distributed somewhere? What's the plan?
Thank you so much for asking. That's really nice of you because this is the last time that it will be in a theater. You all saw, this is the last one. This is the end of our festival tour. I'm so thankful for Another Hole in the Head. I'm so thankful that it got to screen in San Francisco. It's out right now on Amazon. It's out on, It's on Apple TV, Google Play, Fandango, and a bunch of other on-demand transactional video. It's also available on Blu-ray and DVD. Woo!
Once again, thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing this film. Thank you for ending the entire everything here.
Hey, this was great. Thank you so much for
Thank you
having
so
me.
much. Absolutely.